Resurrecting Confederate names on military bases, buildings, and infrastructure isn't the flex Trump thinks it is. My name is Shanda, and welcome to In the Deep End. On June 10th of this year, Donald Trump said he would change 7 Army bases back to their original Confederate-linked names.
We have some big news right now. Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump's nominee to be the next Secretary of Defense, is now calling on changing the names of all military bases back to naming them after Confederate generals. Between 2022 and 2023, 9 American bases were renamed after they were previously named after Confederate generals. They were renamed under the National Defense Authorization Act, which was passed in 2021. Now, Hegseth, as recently as June of this year, is saying, quote, "We should change it back because legacy matters. My uncle served at Bragg," referring to Fort Bragg. "I served at Bragg. It breaks the generational link." Now, if confirmed as Secretary of Defense, Hegseth will be able to advocate for Congress to change the names of military bases. These are Confederate leaders who fought to uphold slavery. There's a reason their names were taken away. And yet, Hegseth, who wants to lead the military, wants to potentially change the names back to what they were before. Comment below your thoughts, spread the word, and as always, follow along on here and on my other social platforms to stay up to date on all the news you need to know about.
On June 10th of this year, Donald Trump said he would change 7 military bases back to their original Confederate-linked names.
For a little breaking news, we are also going to be restoring the names to Fort Pickett, Fort Hood, Fort Gordon, Fort Rucker, Fort Polk, Fort A.P. Hill, and Fort Robert E. Lee. We won a lot of battles out of those forts. It's no time to change.
But with the flip. Rather than honoring Confederate generals directly, he will name them after military soldiers who share the same last names as Confederate generals. Donald Trump plays so many racially charged games. And the only reason he's not outright renaming the bases after Confederate generals and soldiers is because the 2021 bipartisan law prohibits naming military bases after Confederate figures. In my opinion, he's only doing this to slap black people in the face. You know, let's stop pretending this isn't intentional. Let's stop pretending this is about heritage and honor. It's really about provoking Black America, ruffling our feathers and daring us to react. Because chaos serves his agenda. I guess we've all figured that out by now. By inflaming racial tension, he creates the perfect storm for anger, civil unrest, and violence. This isn't political leadership. It's deliberate sabotage dressed as political theater. Black people aren't falling for it this time. We see the game, we've seen it before, and we're not taking the bait. We have realized that our power isn't in reacting. It's in organizing, boycotting big businesses, and hitting the system where it hurts most, in the pocketbook. Every time Donald Trump pushes to revive Confederate names, whether it's renaming military bases, erecting statues, or restoring building and street names, the message isn't about honoring history or tradition as they would like you to believe. It's a deliberate act meant to send a reminder to Black Americans about where he believes we belong in this country. As second-class citizens who should remain silent, sidelined, and afraid. But Black America is not the same as it was decades ago. These attempts to intimidate and provoke only fuels resolve. Some Americans would have you believe that Confederate symbolism is about states' rights, Southern identity, and honoring the brave and sacrifice of the Confederate soldiers. We've all heard it a million times before. They choose to downplay its association to slavery, violence, and oppression because it suits their narrative. In my opinion, though, the operative word being my opinion, they absolutely know what it means. And they realize it's a symbol of resistance against racial progress and equality. This base renaming is not about honoring heroes at all. It's about erasing progress. By restoring the names of those who fought to keep Black people enslaved, is sending a message that our pain didn't and doesn't matter, that our history can be overwritten by the stroke of a few pens, and that white dominance must be upheld at all costs. I mean, it's a calculated insult meant to remind us who they think this country really belongs to. There is no other reason he would be doing such a thing. He wants to recenter whiteness in America. That's his primary focus. It's about reviving the ghost of racist past. I guess they fear the playing field has become too level, and they must do what they've always done, and that's to rig the system, stack the deck, and tilt the scale in their favor. It seems the only way they feel they can win or stay on top is to cheat. How humiliating it must be for a group of people to believe they can't succeed without cheating, without rewriting the rules and destabilizing the playing field. To maintain the illusion of control. If you have to cheat, suppress, weaponize racism, erase Black history, and sabotage just to stay on top, you're not powerful. You're scared. True strength uplifts others. Insecurity clings to control. When Trump prioritizes Confederate symbolism, suppresses voting rights, attacks diversity programs, and rolls back civil rights protections, he may not be actually saying get the chains and the whips out or calling for total segregation, but his policies and rhetoric constantly favor the nostalgia of racism and white supremacy. You know what's funny? In the protests that are going on right now about the ICE raids and the callous treatment of the undocumented, some of the protesters are out there and they are, waving their Mexican flags. And the reason for doing that is because the Hispanics say California belonged to Mexico first. And by right, it is Mexican land. Oh boy, the Trumpers across social media are hot under the collar. They say with their whole chest, they stick their whole chest out and say that Mexico was conquered. They lost the war, so stop flying that Mexican flag in our country. Why doesn't the same apply to the Confederacy? The Confederacy lost the Civil War. Why are they still flying those flags in our country and worshiping the Confederate soldiers by naming public infrastructure and government properties after them? Hello? The Confederacy lost. They were defeated. They're losers. So why do some Americans continue to glorify this treasonous rebellion, who fought to keep human beings enslaved and oppressed? It's the height of hypocrisy, soaked, drenched in racism. This country condemns Mexicans and other immigrants for waving their country's flags with pride, yet clutches to Confederate symbols like sacred relics. You can't claim to love the Union while celebrating those who tried to destroy it. That's not patriotism. That's selective racist nostalgia. I mean, am I reaching here? Am I missing something? Is there something that I'm misconstruing? Is there something I don't understand? Is it not the same exact situation, just with different color people? You guys, let me know if you agree or disagree. As always, thanks so much for watching, and please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.